What do you think it is about the messaging that isn't getting through?
Oh, well, look, Peter, I think we were always expecting that not to eradicate this disease. We've been very, very fortunate the last few months, but I'm not surprised that there continues to be cases emerge. And what we have to do is manage these outbreaks as best we can while we continue to get on with life. I just think the idea that it'd be fully eradicated is probably never going to happen. We're going to have to live with the coronavirus. We're going to have to manage our economy. We're going to have to protect the vulnerable. And we're going to have to do so in a sensible way.
How bad would a second wave be in Queensland? I mean, you've got the tourism sector's just been absolutely decimated. You know, you'd have to think that if there was another wave, that would just about be the end of it.
Oh, no, I don't think so, Peter. I mean, obviously it's going to be very difficult and has been difficult for many businesses. But we will get through these issues. And many businesses will survive. Some may not, and some already haven't. But we'll continue to manage them well, I think, as a country. We probably are going to get a second wave at some point, but we've learnt lessons from the first wave. Our health system's much more prepared. We're better at practising things like outbreaks in aged care centres. There's a lot of positives here, and that's what I'm focused on doing now, and making sure that we can also continue to live and work and provide as much employment and business for as many Australians as possible.
There's quite a few Queenslanders that are a bit miffed at the moment, Senator, about Danny Minogue supposedly getting preferential treatment. She's not having to stay in hotel quarantine. She gets to go to a private home to ride out the 14 days of quarantine. Do you see a bit of a double standard there?
I don't support these special arrangements, Peter. I mean, apparently there's a doctor's note. I mean, if there is a true medical condition, of course I'd be sympathetic to that. But I think it does reek of that. You know, we all supported a few years ago that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were treated the same as anyone else trying to smuggle a dog into this country. And likewise, I think any star, no matter who you are, should be subject to the quarantine requirements we have. The single best thing we've done as a nation has been to close down our external borders, and that's protected us a lot. Where we've seen an outbreak in Victoria, it's been because we've had weakened security arrangements. It hasn't really been a man-made disaster. It's been a Dan-made disaster there in Victoria because Dan Andrews lost control of that. But apart from that, we've got to keep our borders secure, so I don't like these exceptions at all.
Just onto JobKeeper, it's no great surprise that it's going to be extended for some sectors, but there's a warning today from small businesses and lobby groups that not everyone should take it up because of all of this accrued leave that businesses are going to have to pay out. Is that a warning that you would give as well?
Well, look, I'll let businesses make business decisions, but it's right and proper that we do point out that, one, this type of assistance will obviously be temporary. It costs the government at the moment $10 billion a month. It's not something that can be afforded forever. So businesses do need to make decisions for the long term as well. Two, though, we'd hope businesses can keep on as many staff as they can, but obviously they need to weigh up those things for the health of the overall business and for as most employees as they can. And three, look, we have seen businesses making these types of decisions despite, say, for example, Qantas being on JobKeeper. They have let a number of people go. It's extremely unfortunate, but in sectors like that, in air travel, no matter how much government assistance is being provided, obviously there's just a complete wrecking ball gone through the market there, and that's not coming back to its pre-COVID level for a while yet.
OK, well, according to the Australian this morning or the National Farmers Federation, Senator, that it's going to be the agriculture sector that'll kind of lead the way in a post-COVID recovery. So according to a speech that will be given today, the National Farmers Federation wants industrial relations rules simplified, export fees waived, cuts to green tape, millions poured into regional infrastructure. Do you think all of that can be achieved?
Well, what I certainly think can be achieved is a homegrown recovery, if you like. I think we've got to get back to making things here in Australia and make our own wealth. We're probably going to rely less or be able to rely less on international-led growth, if you like, or growth in our major markets like China. So we've got to make our own luck, and that means making the most of our natural resources, like the wonderful primary production resources we have. So I fully support the NFF's calls here today. I'll read with interest the detail of their proposals, but I certainly have been campaigning alongside them to see green tape cut in this country. That's holding so many projects back in our agricultural, mining, manufacturing spaces, and they're the sectors of the economy that we need to unleash. As I've said before, parts of our economy have been forced into hibernation because of this virus. Maybe it's time that we also seek to hibernate some of our regulators, put them in the deep freeze, so that we can unlock the business potential of this country.
Well, you did mention mines then, and I know this one's before the courts, but do you see the new Ackland mine in the Darling Downs going ahead?
I think it will. I think it will, Peter, eventually, because eventually governments will have to act to save a town like Oakey. A couple of thousand people live there, and if the mine goes, the town probably won't be far behind. But this is an example of what we're just talking about. This project's been held up for 13 years. They put their application in to expand an existing mine. It's been there for over 100 years. They put their application to expand their mine in 2007. And they're still waiting for approval from the Queensland Labor government now. We've seen a number of federal Labor MPs come out and call for its approval. Apparently Albo's desperately trying to gag them from sticking up for workers, because that's not what the Labor Party stands for anymore. But it's about time we see some state Labor MPs come out and say what they think about this. And ahead of a Queensland election in just over 100 days, do they support the jobs and workers in our community?
Hey, just finally, Senator, this COVIDSafe app, Bill Shorten's had a pop on Breakfast TV this morning. He reckons it's a flop. What do you think of it?
Well, my understanding, Peter, is that the Apple technology has proven to be a little bit too locked down, excuse the pun, to make it work all that effectively. Look, I still got it on my phone. If it has been used in some cases, perhaps not as many as we'd like, but look, it's a useful backup. I have no problem having it, but we can only work with the IP and technology that the major companies have on their phones.
Oh, but it's a dud, isn't it? I mean, it's not really working. There's no cases anywhere. It's not picking up anything.
I believe I think there's been some cases tracked through it. As I say, it's not. It took me 2 seconds to download and put in. So if it can help, just in a few instances, that's great.
Should we start again though? Use another business?
Well, I think Google and no. Look, I think it was fair enough to have a crack, right? Like not everything's going to work as expected in a pandemic and crisis like this. So you've got to just try lots of things, and that's what we've been doing as a country. We've been very lucky to largely have good results. Now, I believe Google and Apple are developing perhaps a different interface that can talk together. I don't know if that can be rolled out here in Australia, but obviously there are some issues with our app at the moment. But if there's a solution, let's do it.
All right. Yeah.